definitely gets much deeper on Simon. It says, in the scriptures, we groan because of our many great sins. Even though we don't know what they are, the Spirit groans with us to get us forgiven of years and years and years of guilt on our conscience. So it's really powerful to whiten our soul. Alright, so Jesus, when he's describing the kingdom of heaven, and people want to know more about it, he says the kingdom of heaven is like a pearl of great worth. When a man discovers it, he sells everything he has in order to purchase the field in which it is. I think that's the mixing the pearl with the treasure buried in a field. But it's the same story. You sell everything in order to get that pearl. You sell everything to get the field.
Okay. You know what I think that field is right now is getting it legalized in the United States. Because if we don't get it legalized here in the United States, if we don't get this country cleansed of its sin, well, we're the ones with the big guns and we're the bullies. I mean, I'm just saying, we're the most powerful financial,
but we're also one of the most sinful nations. I mean, just turn on the television and you can see that we've given ourselves over.
So that we're not misusing our power.
Yeah.
You see, and turning the world into hell.
Well, the 1,000-year reign of Christ will have those ecclesia, or those who are called out, who will rule over the nations. And those people will have a supernatural power that can, as God's done in the past, He gives us our soul. He gives us our life force. If He calls that back, you just fall over, slump dead. And that happened in the New Testament when Peter confronted someone. So these judges of the nations, these people, these ecclesia, will have that power. They'll be able to see the truth and see, just really judge you, and not judge you as a human judges, not self-righteously, but in righteousness. Judge you as God does. That's exactly why Jesus said, I don't judge, but if I do judge, I judge rightly. He was saying, I don't judge because it's not my judgment. This judgment's God. God's judgment says this. So it's and the greater you are, the greater the responsibility on your shoulders. So not many of you should want to be teachers, because when you screw up as a teacher with everyone watching you, unless you confess your sin quickly, you'll end up with a David-like situation where your son tries to kill you, sleeps with your wives, and drives you into the wilderness. You really have to be careful with your Bathshebas. You go that route, you'll get burned. Another metaphor he uses is, you follow me on that, Bill? Is that okay? Is the mustard seed, where he says, the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, the smallest of all seeds. Well, we know that's not totally true. A mustard seed is actually about twice as big as an opium seed. But maybe he's not talking about a mustard plant at all, because he says it's planted in the ground, the smallest of seeds, but when it grows up, it's so large that the birds of the air can nest in its branches. Well, that sent the Jesuits crazy at about the 12th century. They were traveling the globe looking for the missing mustard plant. They never did find it, of course, because he was referring to the psilocybin mushroom, which when it's a mustard-colored cap, and when it opens up all the way, it makes like a bird's nest. And there's actual art history showing birds nesting in mushrooms. So he was drawing on metaphors. Now another piece that really convinces me that the mushroom goes not only through the New Testament but way back into the Old Testament is the dress and the outfits of the Levites. The Levites were the priestly caste under Aaron, Moses' brother. These Levites had to dress in blue ephods, or blue dresses, all blue gowns, just solid blue. And at the base, so how do you know if you've got a psilocybin mushroom or just some other mushroom? The mushroom experts say, if it doesn't blue, don't bother. So now you've got these men, and they're dressed in all blue outfits, the staining color of psilocybin. And at the bottom, they've got little golden bells intermingled with pomegranates. Pomegranate is symbolic for the opium poppy. The golden bell is symbolic for the psilocybin mushroom. So here they are walking around with these little tinkling golden bells and these all blue outfits. But even further than that, the Levite villages, the cities of the Levites, had to have cattle pastures around them. They couldn't sell the cattle pastures. They couldn't move to a village that didn't have cattle pastures. They had to have cow pies and cow pastures around their villages, because that's where the sacrament, the name of the Lord came up. So they couldn't sell it because they had to have a relationship with it. And we know that because when it says, Levites, when you go out to minister to the people, minister in the name. Well, what's the name? The name is the name of the Most High. Well, what name is that? Well, he said, I am that I am. I am what I am. And when the angel of the Lord was asked that same question, that's, by the way, that's a prefiguration of Jesus, the angel of the Lord. David says, the Lord said to my Lord. So God the Father said to Jesus Christ, or the angel of the Lord, such and such. So here we are. We've got the parents of Samson, the Hercules of the Hebrews, and they're asking this angel of the Lord, who has told them that they're going to have this Herculean child, what is your name, that we can build an altar to you and give thanks and sacrifice? And the angel of the Lord looks down at them from this cloud that he's sitting on, and he says, why do you ask my name? It's beyond your comprehension. And that's a real puzzle right there, because he's saying that the real name of God, the name of the Lord, is not a word that you can say with your mouth, because it's beyond your ability to comprehend. And that, to me, is a real good solid piece of evidence that the name is the mushroom, because you can begin to comprehend it as Adam did on the first page, or first pages of Genesis, and in the last pages of the book, John is still comprehending what's being said by God. Nobody, no human, is capable of fully comprehending the entirety of the name of God, or all the things that name, because a name is used to call a person. If I say, hey Bill, you're going to say, yeah Matt, what's happening? But if I say, hey Jesus, or Yahweh, or Yeshua, I don't sense any real presence there. I don't sense his attention on me. Now maybe I'm just not saying it long enough, or hard enough, or loud enough. Maybe he can't hear me. But my understanding of an omnipotent God is he always hears you. He's always watching. He knows everything that's going on with you. So if I'm trying to get God to pay attention, the psilocybin mushroom is, I find, the very best name out there. And it works well with the other angels as well. We were taught that Muhammad was in a cave, and that he was taught all the things that he wrote in the Quran by the Archangel Gabriel. Now Muhammad, unless I'm greatly mistaken, was essentially of a Muslim tradition, Islam. And so, as such, when you think of Afghanistan, or you think of the Muslim people, what are they very well known for growing? They're known for growing opium. Now, opium is a spiritual essence. When you call on opium, a spirit comes over your temple, and that the Greek word enthusiasm, entheos, means to be filled with or affected by, enthusiastic, because of a spirit. So you can see a person in high spirits is under a spiritual affect, and these I don't want to use the word drug plants. These sacraments do change the things that come out of our mouths. As you said, when you were speaking Jacob, Isaac, Abraham, you didn't feel it was your voice that was saying it. You felt there was another voice speaking through you.
It was no, it wasn't my voice. I had no idea what was going to come out of my mouth. I don't want to try to imitate it, because I can't. But
would you say it had authority?
It was coming out of my mouth, but it wasn't me speaking. No, not at all. And it wasn't. And it was coming out as plain as day. But it was almost like really like vibrations that started turning in, like a radio frequency turning in that was really out of tune, and then it just came right into tune, and it just sounded plain as day.